Welcome back into the Viking Central podcast. I'm Brett Peterson. We're going to talk some NFL draft crushes today for the upcoming draft here in April. I have a new host with me today. It's Austin Dowdle. How we doing, Austin?
I'm doing pretty good. Excited to be here. Excited to get down with this draft. It's going to be an interesting one coming forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, they're talking about this draft. There's it's not like a very top heavy draft. It's like not filled with talent, but it's filled with a bunch of solid players. Like you can find like contributors all the way through the seventh round. And I feel like that's what the Vikings really need. We just need to fill out this roster a little bit. And we only have 4 picks right now. So I feel like we need to try to get 2 or 3 more because I think we could really use this draft to fill out this roster. And I don't know if I trust Kwesi 100% to do that, but at least we need that opportunity to do it. So is that kind of what you're getting at too with this draft? It's pretty, not super top heavy, but it's pretty deep.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent up and down the draft boards. I mean, there's a lot of needs that the Vikings are going to need. And like you said, we only have the 4 picks, but Kwesi always is one to make the move. It's just whether we can make sure he lands on those trades because in my opinion, this is one of the favorite positions in this draft is the running back. It goes all the way up and down, and I think that might be a position we go with if we get more draft picks. But if we stay with 4, I think we're more limited, and we might just stick with signing a veteran running back like we did last year with Aaron Jones.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like you said, we need to take advantage of it because this is there's probably going to be like 30 to 35 running backs taken in the draft, and a lot of them are going to hit, in my opinion. So, we need that flexibility. Just get a couple more picks. I mean, don't make a stupid trade where you're trading from 12 to 32 like you did his first year. And then,
we missed out on Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want to do anything like that, but just be more calculated with that. I feel like the back end of the first, if you move back 5 or 6 spots and gain a pick or 2, I feel like you're going to still get a really solid player just moving back a little bit. So we'll see how it plays out. We're going to talk a little bit about our draft crushes here. Do want to shout out our sponsor real quick, and that's Stead Foods. Check out Stead Foods, a Minnesota-based candy company specialized in delicious chocolate bars. They have something for everyone, and of course, my personal favorite, caramel crack, will keep you coming back for more. It is just super delicious. Use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. Again, use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. All right. That's Stead Foods. Again, use the code VC10, 10% off. You can see the link on the bottom of the screen ticking there. I'll put the link in the description. You guys can find it there. So, all right, some draft crushes. I got a handful here, Austin, but I'll let you start. Just give me one of your draft crushes here for the 2025 draft.
Yeah, I think it's well known between anyone in the Viking community that we are kind of struggling for a interior offensive lineman. And I like Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. I think he is a great and athletic player. He played the tackle position in college. And we've seen that in the past with the lower level players doing that. Kind of like Quinn Meinertz, he pulled that off out of my alma mater, actually, of UW Whitewater in D3 football.
Awesome.
And he moved over to the guard position. And it just shows the athletic ability of being able to play the tackle and then move inside and be able to run block and pass block. I think that would be a good pick for the Vikings. I like his first step a lot.
Yeah, I would love that pick, to be honest with you. North Dakota State guy, he's going to be a mauler. He's going to get down and dirty. That's what I really love. So I live near Brookings, South Dakota, actually. So I've seen him play SDSU plenty of times, and yeah, he's going to be violent in there, and that's something that the Vikings desperately need. When's the last time you said our offensive line was really physical? Obviously, you got Christian. We got 2 good tackles, but that interior needs to be set in stone. I think Gray could come in and do that right off the bat. And I think Mel Kiper actually mocked him to the Vikings in one of his latest mock drafts. So
he did. His 2.0 has
yep.
Gray coming to the Vikings.
Yeah, I think that'd be an underrated pick. I don't know. It probably wouldn't be like a really popular pick, but someone that just wants to upgrade the offensive line, they're going to say, oh, he was a tackle. No, he's going to play guard probably, and he's going to do a really damn good job there. So, yeah, I would love that pick. That's a really good one, Austin. for sure. I can state one of mine. This guy kind of owned the combine a little bit, and it's not a super. It could be a need depending on what we do at the position. But Nick Amanwari from South Carolina, just a athletic freak. He ran a 4.4 and he's like 6'3", 230 pounds. Like the dude is just, and I think his vertical is like 40 inches or something like that. He's just an athletic specimen. I think Brian Flores would love him in this defense. He's pretty versatile. Can play in the box. Can play at the deep. He's very rangy, but can also play in the box. A guy that I just think would be really good in the Flores defense, but it really depends on what we're going to do with Cam Bynum. Is Harrison Smith going to come back? We still got Josh Metellus. And then, we still got Theo Jackson, Jay Ward, guys that it can step in and be really successful as well. So it's kind of interesting to see. It'd be one of those where it's probably not going to be another popular pick because it's a safety in the first round. And we've been through there before. Now, I think Malachi Starks would be the bigger question mark because that would be another Georgia safety in the first round. But I think Nick would come in and he'd just be a playmaker. He's just not a safety. He can play linebacker. He can play in the slot. He can play pure safety. He can play all over the field. So I think that'd be very interesting to put into Brian Flores' defense.
Yeah, it's like you said, someone like that big physical guy, Brian Flores, likes to move around their guys. Like you said, Metellus,
For sure.
he's a guy that moves around the box. He plays the nickel. He can play true safety. And I think the versatility on defense actually is a big key to
For sure.
to help the Vikings in general. I think that's what Brian Flores wants, interchangeable pieces, guys that can help when like injuries and stuff like that. So I like that pick quite a bit.
Awesome. Yeah, I think he'd be a day one impact player for sure. So you got another one for me, Austin?
Yeah, you actually, Malachi Starks out of Georgia was one that I like quite a bit. He, again, the Georgia safety, we've gone down that road before, but I think we got the only, Lewis Sane was the only Georgia defensive player that didn't hit in that draft. It just so happened that we got him. Yep. I think they have a winning culture down there, and I think that that would be a good translation to be right away, be a day one impact player. Like you said, he does a good job of covering, and I like him in the run defense as well.
For sure. And I did a little bit of a pod earlier about potential players. Like I think I did a mock draft roundup, and someone, I forgot who it was exactly. They mocked Malachi Starks to the Vikings, and like I put on there, he's not Lewis Sane, or they're completely different players. Like he's going to be a really, really good football player in the NFL. And I think Lewis Sane, I mean, right off the bat, his career just took he battled a minor injury like in training camp, and then the major injury in London, and then switching to the defensive coordinators. He was more built for like an Ed Donatel system, not so much like a Brian Flores. So, if his career could have been different if it wasn't for the injuries and just the ups and downs right away. So I think he could have been a good football player. I don't know if he could still be, because he's kind of on like the Eagles practice squad and stuff like that. But, there's always a chance. But Malachi Starks is a damn good football player. He's going to come in, and whoever selects him, he's going to be an impact player right off the bat, like you said. So, yeah, that'd be a good one as well. It's just, I know the Vikings community, if we draft either Nick Amanwari or Malachi Stark, we don't need a safety in the first round. But at the same time, it's just another chess piece for Brian Flores' defense with either of those guys. So,
well, yeah, but it's like you said, the people are going to think we might not need the safety, but I mean, I think that's why the franchise tag is going to be important in this situation, because if we can't if Harrison Smith doesn't want to come back and play, or if we can't get Cam Bynum to sign a contract, or if we don't franchise tag him, I mean, that's honestly going to be one of our biggest needs, I feel like, on the defensive side of the ball.
For sure, yeah. And I think the tag deadline's in like 2 days, so we're going to find out here pretty quick. Yeah. And then we can always sign Cam to an extension as well into free agency, but I feel like if he hits the market, he's going to get paid a bag, and it's kind of going to be out of the Vikings, paywall a little bit. But yeah, that could be a really big need if things don't go our way. So moving into my next one. If you follow me on Twitter, you kind of know this already, but Devin Neal is one of my biggest draft crushes. he didn't run a great 40 time. He was like a 4.6 is one of the slower ones actually. And people kind of were surprised by that because he does play faster than he ran. He's a really shifty back. I think he'd be really fun in this offense. And I tweeted out earlier, like, if we could somehow get 2 running backs in this draft, but we won't, especially if we don't get any more draft capital. But like Cam Scatabo and Devin Neal, it just be like a a really fun tandem. But it's not going to happen. But Devin Neal is one of my favorite players to watch. I'm a Kansas Jayhawk fan anyway, so I watched a ton of his football games. Like I said, shifty, can break tackles, has pretty good breakaway speed, but he's just a really good football player, can catch the ball out of the backfield. In the combine, like, I don't know if it really hurt his draft stock, but it didn't really improve it. So with a third, he's probably going to be there with our third round pick. So could that be an option there? I just really think he'd be really fun in this Kevin O'Connell system.
Oh, I agree. He hits the holes very well, and I'm also a kind of a Jayhawks fan, old UW Whitewater coach there. So,
Sure.
I mean, I like to follow them as well. So, I mean, their offense, I feel like, can be kind of similar in the sense that they like to spread out and they like to
For sure
be a more balanced attack. And I think that's where Kevin O'Connell, I think, is going with this offense in the future, especially if we go with the younger quarterback with JJ McCarthy.
Yep.
A good young running back like that who hits the holes, can catch the ball out of the backfield, could be a big help for this offense moving forward.
Yeah. And like I said, with JJ, young quarterback, I think spreading it out would be a pretty darn good idea just to give him a bunch of options. I mean, just put playmakers on the field because we know Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, they're going to get open. TJ, he's a little slow. Hawkinson was a little slow coming back from his injury, but you could tell he had some rust, but I expect him to be back to his normal self here in 2025. But just to add another dynamic playmaker like Devin Neal, yeah, for sure. Because like you said, you can split him out wide if you want. Like he can run routes. He's dangerous in the back, out of the backfield. Really good in the screen game. And then, like you said, he hits the hole really hard. And that's something I feel like we've been missing. Like Aaron Jones was really good for like the first 5-6 games of the year, but you can tell he kind of got wore down as the year went on. We just need that game breaker back because I feel like defenses didn't really, respect it all that much. And that's kind of why Sam struggled towards the end of the year, in my opinion. But I just think he'd be really fun in this offense. So another one for you, Austin.
Yeah, one I've been really keeping an eye on is Ty Robinson out of Nebraska.
Okay.
He looks like he looked really fast at the combine. He ran that 4.83, fastest D tackle at the draft, and he had a really fast 10-yard split as well. And I just think that someone like that, obviously the Vikings, that's another need, is the defensive tackle. We need someone, I think someone with the speed like Ty Robinson. He's going to be able to rush the quarterback pretty well too, as long with does a good job of holding the wall and doing a good job with the run defense as well. So I think the athletic diversibility of him might help the Brian Flores defense as well.
Oh, totally agree. Yeah, I would love him in Minnesota. Big Ten guy. Watch some of his games for sure. And he was an impact player. And like you said, we need some interior pass rush. We need it really bad. We just don't have a guy that has done it consistently. We can get to the passer on the edges. Brian Flores can, scheme up guys with sending 8 guys. But what can we do to get to the passer without sending extra guys on blitz? That's how the Eagles won the Super Bowl. They didn't blitz one time in the Super Bowl, and that's just a crazy stat. They did not blitz one time. Their front 4, their front 5, they were able to get past after the passer without sending any extra help. So just to get a guy that can create that interior rush, like you said, a little bit of a speed rusher, just to get in the quarterback's face, would just add another element to this Brian Flores defense. So yeah, I would really love that pick for sure. All right, one of my next ones, we can do about 1 or 2 more here. More of a little bit of a late round guy is Billy Bowman Jr. out of Oklahoma. Another safety, but he's a little bit undersized, but he's kind of a ball hawk, and that's what I kind of love about safeties. Just a guy that can always be around the football, which I think is always important, especially in Brian Flores defense. If he's around the football, making plays, forcing fumbles, getting deflections, getting interceptions. I think he had like 3 return touchdowns, 3 pick sixes or something like this last year. So a guy that can create turnovers. I think we were one of the top. I think we top. I think we were top 3 in like forced turnovers. So just add another guy to that element. I think Billy Bowman Jr. could come in and just be a guy that's bouncing around the field. Like I said, he's undersized, but just let him bounce around the field. Kind of like they're not the same exact players, but Ivan Pace Jr., he's undersized, but he's always around the football. So just add another player like that, I think would be huge for this defense.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's something that translates well. It's like you said, ball hockey's always around the ball.
Yep.
Guys like that translates from level to level. And I just think it doesn't matter if you're undersized, really. It
Sure.
can be a problem, but at the safety position, I mean, you're not really doing a lot of one-on-one coverage. So, I mean, in terms of pass coverage, I think it'll be fine, him being over the top. And then, but like you said, he's always going to be around the ball. And he runs the field very well. He's very fast, I think. That's another pick of mine that I was actually going to say I like him a lot.
For sure. Great minds think alike. Yeah, he'd be really good in this Flores defense. I think he'd be really good on special teams too,
Yeah.
because he is just a guy that will fly down the field. And for those mid to later round guys, you got to be able to contribute on defense. So I think he'd have no problem doing that. And then just to be able to add him onto the defense would be great as well. But do you have a couple more? Just kind of rattle off a little bit of a quick hitting couple here. So
Yeah, I like Trayvon Henderson out of Ohio
yeah,
State. I think he's a good running back. Shervon Revel Jr., the cornerback out of Eastern Carolina. I liked a lot of his tape as well. I think that those are two guys that if we decide to go that way, also needs of ours. I think they can be an immediate impact, although I don't think I'd like to go running back first round. So unless
for
we
sure.
get more picks, but I think
Yep.
those guys can both be impact players.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting topic. Like we talked about this a little bit before we hit record, but like, what are we gonna do with the running back position, especially if we don't get more draft capital? The
Yeah,
only
apparently we met with Genty. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't think I want to give up more draft capital to move up to get Genty,
right.
although he would
You
be
just never know.
amazing.
You just
Yeah,
never know. And this is a really deep running back class. Like like I said, we talked about this earlier. But like the only way like I would move up if like a guy like Genty or maybe Hampton like fall into like the low 20s, but I don't see anyone getting past 20, to be
yeah.
honest with you. Um, but if one of them do fall to 24, obviously scoop them up.
Oh yeah.
But maybe if we do trade back to like pick 30 or something like that, and we do get like a 2 extra picks, maybe we could go like Henderson or something like that. But how big a gap is the talent between like Travion Henderson and like Caleb Johnson or something like that? So it's just weighing those options, I guess. Um, just it's hard to say because, like you said, this class is just so deep, um, and there's a lot of needs on this team. So that's going to be one of the interesting ones for sure. But a couple more that I like: Derek Harmon out of Oregon, just a guy that can take up space and can get after the passer a little bit. Got a violent first step, uses his hands really well. Quincy Riley out of Louisville, I really like him. A sticky cover corner that will be good in this Brian Flores defense. We're going to need some corners. It's just the way it is. Darian Porter is another corner out of Iowa State. Ran a 4.340 at like 6'4",
Yeah.
which is just insane. And he's only been playing corner for like 2 years. Like he just moved to playing corner, and I think he had an injury as well. But a guy that I think would be perfect. And lengthy corners are always my draft crushes. And unfortunately, the tragic passion of Kyrie Jackson. I love Kyrie Jackson. Heading into the draft last year, and just a big, tall, lengthy corner that was just oozing potential. But that's very unfortunate. But Tyler Booker, another one. I don't know if I want to take him at 24.
Yeah.
I think he'd be more of another trade back solution. But high school teammate of JJ McCarthy, which I think would be kind of interesting. You get some continuity there right away, get some chemistry there right away. But there's gonna be a lot of talk. We're under 2 months away now. We're about 7 weeks away, so a lot's gonna happen. We know Kwesi, like you said, likes to move around in the draft a little bit. But anything else you want to add at all, Austin?
Well, I mean, it's fine. This is another interesting kind of topic because I don't know how I feel about it, but I guess O'Connell met with Ward. I don't know what he's got planning with that. Maybe he just wants to see what the room's all about or just kind of get a feel for him. I don't know. I thought that was really interesting seeing that.
Yeah. And what I've heard is he KLC likes to kind of do a pre-draft. Like last year, he met with that. Obviously, we needed a need at quarterback, but he met with like everyone, and even guys he knew he wasn't going to like Caleb Williams and everything like that. He met with everyone. He just wants to get it in and build a relationship with those guys because, say, Cam Ward does go to like Tennessee or something, he goes to the Jets or something like that, and they fail in 3 or 4 years. So
Yeah.
down the road, if we're looking for a quarterback in 3 or 4 years, he's going to have that connection from the combine and the pre-draft process where they kind of have that relationship already. So I feel like that's kind of what he's aiming for. But it's interesting, regardless, because like what's going on here? Like we have JJ McCarthy. We just took him 10th pick last year, but that's a very interesting little note that we got this last weekend.
Yeah.
So, but awesome. Yeah, that's some of our draft crushes here. Austin, I appreciate you hopping on. You're going to see his face a little bit more, guys. Yeah, we're going to just talk some football. We got a big, like I said, about 7 weeks leading up to the NFL draft. Going to be a lot of topics to talk about, but we will see you guys in the next one. Again, Stead Foods is our sponsor of this video. Use code VC10. Viking Central. God bless.